back on radio now as well. You are listening to the IBGR.network. Now, IBGR is a call sign, but we're as a radio station, but we're much more than a radio station. We are a network of global entrepreneurs coming together to create a shared space for collaboration and business success. I'm your host, Jan Robberts, Global Influencer, and this is session 12 already. Intentional is essential in our people skills lane, people skills for success. Now you can go to our website at ibgr.network and download the show notes as well as download the podcast. Now this podcast in the next few days will be downloaded as well in 4 different sections. So you've got 4 12-minute sections, 15-minute sections you can download there. So yes, go to the website and join us, and also share this. You know, if you're on Facebook Live just now, because we're on Facebook Live as well, radio listeners, if you're on Facebook Live, like and share this, but also on the radio, go and share the IBGR.network station with your friends, with others, because there is a host of information. In fact, you can download the show notes from last season. It's a bookwork, nearly 600 pages. You can download all the different sections for people, for finance, for corporate, for executives, for customers. You can download all of that from the website as well, and also from the app. We've got an app as well. I already told the viewers, but the listeners as well. We've got the IBGR app where you can listen to the IBGR.network wherever you are. And you can download the podcast from there as well. You can learn more about us. There is a community you can join. So join us, please, people. But thank you very much from 149 countries. Thank you for joining us. And this is a Christmas Eve sending from South Africa. So, stepping back several decades, after being bullied as a young boy, I started my journey of self-discovery and self-development at the age of 17. So that's several decades ago. Now, my first book, after avoiding books like the plague outside of school, and sometimes even in school, okay, that's another story, but I started reading my first personal development book. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. A strange title, but it changed my life because I started getting a thirst for this. And my journey includes, because it's still ongoing at this time, because I said intentional, it's not sometime, it's every time. It's not something, it's everything. It's not someday, it's every day. So it includes reading positive books. It includes listening to cassettes. Well, that was how it started, so you can imagine how long ago it is. Well, CDs, MP3s, MP4s. I started watching uplifting, encouraging DVDs, TED Talks, and those kind of things. Going to workshops and seminars, and investing in me, and also starting martial arts. That's also happened at the age of 17, which I still do now. I'm slowly getting the hang of it, Ki Aikido. And again, that's also mind power stuff, and that's a whole different subject. Mind power itself is fascinating. But I might do a whole session on that someday, in maybe next season. If you're asking for it, you'll get it. But I also stopped buying newspapers and listening to the news because I did not need all that negative stuff inside of my head. You've heard of garbage in, garbage out. Now I prefer Kiko, quality in, quality out, because that's a little bit more positive, of course. But I made those choices intentionally and felt good about the direction of my life, my health, my career, and where all that was going. But it was a different direction than, and because it was a different direction, because I had a different attitude. And we can all choose our attitude, a different perspective, and that was different than most of the colleagues I used to work with. Now it was fascinating to start watching people who were going in a different direction because they bought the newspapers. And I don't say you can't buy newspapers, but how much good is in there? How much good is constantly listen to the constant negative news, CNN, or any other news channel, especially now? People are fearful, people are scared, people are frightened now because they've been bombarded with 10 months of negative news. Where is the positive news? And again, I could do a whole session on this, but I'm not going to. There is enough information out there that you can find something positive in all of this, and that we need to step up and stand up and speak out. But that's for a different time. But if you want to change your result, does it not make sense that you change your thinking? Yes, it is that simple. I never said easy, I said simple. Now, You change your thinking, which moves your conscious to a subconscious, which creates different results. See, because if you go back to the garbage in, garbage out, whatever comes into your head, that comes into that, everything starts with a thought. So it comes into your thinking. Now that thinking, you're doing up there all this kind of thinking, and remember, there's only 2% of people think, 3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think. That's another interesting concept about George Bernard Shaw, because most people think they are actually thinking. They're told what to think. That's not thinking. They're told what to think and when to think it, because that's how we've been programmed. Now, if you can control your thinking, bear with me for a minute. If you can control your thinking, so whatever goes into your head, you can't stop everything going into your head, but you can control. You can have the choices how long you mull it, how long what you do with it once it goes into your head. If it's negative, get rid of it. Stop thinking about it. Get something positive in there quickly. But now these thoughts come into your head, then they sink into your subconscious. From there, you start taking action, and a lot of this kind of stuff happens automatically because of a young age. You got all this kind of stuff in there. We don't need to think how to breathe. We don't need to think how to blink our eyes and so many other things. But that happens automatically now. But whatever, our thoughts create the action then. So when you think of it, the actions, if you look at certain stuff just now and you don't get the results you actually want, and you look at things and say, hey, I can't do that. The reason you say you can't do that because of the thoughts you've had that gave you some, maybe you did it before and you failed, but maybe you never even did, but somebody told you, who do you think you are? No, you'll never be able to do that. We've been programmed. If I say an apple a day, I know you're going to say keeps the doctor away. That's the kind of program we've been at. But you've been programmed, as all of us have been. So now the thoughts that have been coming into your head ever since whenever you were born, and so all these thoughts have come into your head, and now you look at the results and say, I can't do that. That is because thoughts become actions, actions become habits, and habits become your reality and your destiny. Now, going back to the thoughts. So your thoughts come into your head. That means that you look at stuff that was created or where you failed with the thinking you had in the past. So it has no relevance to the thinking you do right now. So this does not make sense. And if you change your thinking right now, the results you have in the future will also change. So if you have more positive thoughts, you'll have more positive results. I says it's simple, not easy, but you can start right now. And there's 3 things that will govern the way your future will reveal itself. If you're going to be intentional, you need the things you read, the things you listen to, and the people you associate with. That is what governs the future of your life, your destiny, and everything that around there. And you can control that, because you can control what you read. Do you read a newspaper, or do you read a positive book, or something more motivating? Do you listen to the news, or do you listen to some motivational music, or some music is always motivating anyway, or a TED talk, or whatever it is, Les Brown, John Maxwell, Nick Vujicic, Tony Robbins, all this kind of, John DeMartini. There are so many people who are motivational, E.T., and a powerful motivational speaker. Not Going Home, not that one. No, Edward Thomas, amazing, powerful speaker. Look him up. There are so many more. And the people you associate with. Who do you associate with that doesn't serve your life? And it might be harsh, but you might not associate yourself as much with the people you do right now, because all of them are negative. Oh, what can we do? And life's so bad. You need to get out of there, because you are going to be the similar situations to the 5 people you're closest to, the 5 to 10 people you're closest to. So look at those people, and some of you might need to change people you hang around with. I don't say never hang around with them, but a lot less, and find new people who are more motivating, who have what you have, so who do what you want to do. Search them, and if you're not with them, you can have them in books, you can have them on TED Talks, you can have them on YouTube and everywhere. But that's something that you need to be doing intentionally. And you also need to discover your why, your purpose, your destiny, because when you do that, you'll know why you want to get up in the morning. You'll know what it'll take to actually. You don't need an alarm clock anymore if you find this kind of stuff, and then become intentional, because you now know what your purpose is in life, what your destiny. Most people they just go through life because they're not intentional. They have no purpose. They don't know what they're doing. They just go along in a comfort zone. There's all those kind of things But people, if you are wanting to run your business, if you've got ideas of running your business, and this is the growth phase of your business where maybe your doors aren't open yet. That's why it's P1, P2 is when you open your doors, and it goes on to when you're very experienced, maybe even want to exit your business. But if you're there right now, then you better be intentional in everything to do. You better be intentional in connecting with people, in networking. I've talked about networking in my last few sessions. In consolidating that networking, building long-term relationships. That's all got to be intentional in your business. So as a leader as well, I'm going to talk the next session a little bit more into the leadership side of stuff. How you can lead from the front, how you can lead yourself first. I mean, we're talking about self-growth and self-leadership at the moment because it's the most important. That's where any leadership starts. That's where any business will start. So when you start every day with your why, and maybe you need to find it first, you will find yourself continually doing things that inspire you and those around you. Imagine how big a difference you can make in your life and those around you. Starting from now, I'm not even saying next week, because not from the 1st of January. You can start now. I need to really keep an eye on the radio, because on the radio we have a break, if you haven't been with us before, and we're nearly there again, another 30 seconds and we're going to take another break. But there was something that I loved, and it says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. That's a Chinese saying. So what are you going to do from today? You can't change what happened before. You can't control yet what happens in the future. But what are you going to do today? Yes, it's Christmas Eve. We need to do this. No, what are you going to do today? What does your growth plan look like? We're going to talk a little bit more about the growth plan and your intentional life and your intentional leadership and your intentional business when you come back. But we're on the radio. If you're on the radio just now, we're going to go for a short break. Join us on ibgr.network. Ask questions on the pulsating orange question mark, and on Facebook. If you want to add any comments, join us there too. But I will be back after a short break. Don't go away.